Prisoner's dilemma. In networks and when thinking how to create and capture value, one should learn to focus on what the other actors in your network will do. The big and very difficult lesson is do not think what you will do, but think first what your potential competitor would do and what would be your best choice. Learn to think through the moves of your competitors. This lesson is best told and described in The Prisoner's Dilemma. Peter and Judy have committed a crime. They have now been caught. The police have enough evidence to commit them to 1 year in jail. The police will separate Peter and Judy from each other. They will make the following offer. If you speak and give us more information, you will be allowed to go free and the other party will get 5 years. The police, however, add that should both of you speak, the earlier offer will not be valued and you will both get 3 years in prison. What should you do? What would be your logical choice? I have spent hours trying to sort this out. I am sure some of you might also rack your brains with the dilemma. I am sure you are tempted by that fact that 1 year sounds like a good deal. I am sure you are getting your feelings involved, but don't. The lesson here is very simple. Think what the other party will do and what your best choice would be. Let's try this. Imagine you are Peter. As Peter, you should look at Judy's choices individually. What if Judy keeps her mouth shut? Your best option is to talk, because then you would get no sentence. What if Judy decided to talk? Your best option would be to talk. In both options, your best option is to talk. If you are a logical thinker, you would talk. The game has been drawn as a matrix in the following picture. Judy's conviction is in red and Peter's is in black. Try and use the matrix. Do you arrive to the same conclusion? The problem is, of course, that most of us will in the above situation not think logically. It will therefore be interesting to play the game and see what happens in real life. Experiments playing the game show that people soon learn that talking would be to their benefit. However, they also know that keeping quiet would bring an even better solution. Hence, when the game is repeated several times, some players will occasionally keep quiet and try in this way to convince their competitor also to keep quiet. If the competitor does not understand this, you should immediately return to your best tactic, in other words, to talk. The Prisoner's Dilemma has 2 lessons. The first lesson is to consider the moves of your competitor and decide your best strategy based upon those moves. The second lesson is that sometimes it makes sense not to compete with your competition, but to make an agreement with your competition. In a market competition, agreements with competition can be considered as cartel moves, and hence one should be careful with agreements. However, standards are an example of agreements, and standards are a great way to create new markets. The Prisoner's Dilemma is an example of game theory. Game theory has a lot to teach us about strategy and how we should act. In other words, what strategies we should choose in different situations. Schumpeter's notion of creative destruction argues that markets evolve through competition. The prisoner's dilemma suggests that sometimes societies should take a step back and agree on new approaches and believe that these new ways will create new efficiencies. Changing structures of the society, including existing law, can, however, be very difficult to agree on. It is very possible that some societies will remain locked in by, for example, their present level of technology, and other societies can leapfrog into using new technologies and thus also become more efficient societies. I have drawn this notion of optimums and efficiencies in the following drawing. Societies in a lower valley are more efficient. Societies located higher up need to climb, in other words, to change, before reaching a lower valley. This is the problem which I see in the adoption of new e-infrastructure. Why have some societies been able to adopt, for example, e-identity or e-voting?